In the heart of the ancient city of Benin, Edo State, Nigeria, under the vast and vibrant skies, two sisters, Ifueko and Aisosa, shared a life filled with laughter, love, and a deep-rooted faith. Their home was a haven of warmth where hymns and prayers mingled with the rich aromas of traditional Nigerian dishes. The girls, though different as day and night, were inseparable, bound by blood and a shared belief in the teachings of Christ. Ifueko, the elder, was a whirlwind of energy and dreams. Her eyes sparkled with ambition and her heart yearned for horizons beyond the familiar streets of their neighborhood. Aisosa, younger by 2 years, was the quiet observer, her gentle nature a calming presence in the midst of her sister's restless spirit. She found solace in the pages of her Bible where stories of faith and miracles filled her with a sense of purpose. Their parents, devout Christians, had instilled in them the values of their faith, love, compassion, and integrity. They nurtured the girls' hearts with stories from the scriptures, teaching them to see the hand of God in every aspect of their lives. Sunday services were a family affair, a time of communal worship and fellowship that anchored their week. Life in Nigeria was not without its challenges, but within the walls of their modest home, the family found strength in each other and in their faith. Yet, as the girls grew, so did their curiosity about the world beyond. The tales of distant lands, with opportunities as vast as the oceans, whispered to Ifueko in her dreams, igniting a desire for a life less ordinary. Then, one day, an opportunity arose that would change the course of their lives forever. Their father announced that the family would be moving to Canada, a land of promise and possibility. The news sent ripples of excitement and apprehension through the household. For Ifueko, it was the call of destiny; for Aisosa, a journey into the unknown. As they prepared for their journey, the sisters clung to each other, their excitement mingled with a sense of loss. They were leaving behind the only world they had known, stepping out into the vastness of a future unwritten. They promised each other that no matter what lay ahead, they would face it together with their faith as their guiding light. But little did they know, the streets of Canada were paved with challenges unforeseen, and their faith and bond would be tested in ways they could never have imagined. It was the beginning of a journey that would lead them down diverging paths, a journey of faith, temptation, loss, and ultimately redemption. Childhood in Nigeria. Roots of faith and family. In the ancient city of Benin, Edo State, Nigeria, where history whispers through the walls of the great Oba's palace and the air is thick with the scent of age-old traditions, the lives of Ifueko and Aisosa began. Nestled in a bustling neighborhood, their home stood as a testament to the harmonious blend of deep-rooted cultural heritage and devout Christian faith. Their father, Osahan, a respected teacher, and their mother, Osarag, a nurse, were pillars of strength in their community. They raised their daughters with an unwavering commitment to their Christian faith, interweaving the teachings of the Bible with the rich mix of Benin traditions. Family evenings were often spent reading scriptures and sharing stories from the Bible, coupled with tales of Benin's glorious past. Ifueko, the elder by 3 years, was a vivacious child, her eyes reflecting the boundless energy and curiosity within. She had an innate ability to weave stories, often captivating her younger sister with tales of far-off lands and heroic adventures. Aisosa, with her quiet demeanor and thoughtful eyes, found solace in the stories of the Bible, particularly drawn to the tales of Esther and Ruth, finding in them the strength and resilience she admired. Their home was always filled with music, a mix of hymns and traditional Benin folk songs. Sundays were special, reserved for church and family. Dressed in their finest attire, they would walk to the local church, their voices joining in the chorus of hymns that floated through the neighborhood. Education was a cornerstone of their upbringing. Osahan, with his passion for knowledge, often held impromptu lessons under the shade of the mango tree in their yard, instilling in his daughters a love for learning. Osarag, with her gentle wisdom, taught them the values of compassion, empathy, and the importance of helping those in need. Community life in Benin was vibrant and closely knit. The girls participated in church activities, from Sunday school to youth groups, forging strong friendships and a sense of belonging. Festivals and celebrations were a regular part of life, where the streets came alive with colorful parades, traditional dances, and the melodious rhythms of the ekwe and udu drums. However, life in Benin was not without its challenges. Economic uncertainties and stories of opportunities abroad often dominated conversations among adults. The sisters, particularly Ifueko, listened intently to these discussions, their minds swirling with dreams of what lay beyond the shores of Nigeria. As Ifueko and Aisosa grew, so did their understanding of their faith and heritage. They learned to balance the teachings of Christ with the customs and traditions of their people, forming an identity that was deeply rooted in both. This foundation, solidified in the warmth of their family and the rich culture of Benin, prepared them for the journey ahead, a journey that would test their faith, challenge their beliefs, and ultimately shape their destinies. In the bustling heart of Benin City, where ancient traditions met the pulse of modern life, Ifueko and Aisosa grew up under the same roof, but in many ways, in different worlds. The streets they walked were the same, yet they each danced to a different rhythm of life. Ifueko, the elder, was a flame that danced freely, her spirit as vibrant as the marketplaces on a busy day. Her laughter was infectious, her dreams as big as the sky above. She saw life as an adventure, a story yet to be told, and she was its fearless protagonist. Aisosa, in contrast, was the gentle echo to Ifueko's resounding gaiety. She moved through life with a quiet grace, her thoughts deep like the calm waters of the Asi River. Where Ifueko was the sun, bold and bright, Aisosa was the moon, reflective and serene. Their childhood was a shade of shared memories. They played in the narrow, bustling streets of their neighborhood, their games a blend of their personalities, Ifueko's daring escapades and Aisosa's imaginative tales. In these moments, their differences merged into a harmony that only sisters could create. Sunday mornings brought a different kind of bonding. Dressed in their colorful Ankara dresses, they walked to church, their small hands clasped tightly. In the wooden pews, they sat side by side, absorbing the stories of faith and hope. These teachings were the seeds planted in their young hearts, growing roots that would, in time, be tested by storms. As they grew older, Ifueko's fiery spirit sought the horizons beyond their familiar streets, while Aisosa found contentment in the pages of her Bible and the quiet routines of their community. Yet, in the sacred space of their shared room, under the glow of a single lantern, they shared whispers of their hopes and fears. In these hushed conversations, Ifueko's ambitions soared high, speaking of distant lands and grand achievements, while Aisosa shared dreams that were quieter, yet no less profound, of helping, healing, and nurturing. Their bond was a river that flowed through the landscape of their lives, sometimes meandering gently, at times rushing with intensity, but always moving forward. It was this unspoken, unbreakable bond that carried them through the laughter and the tears, through the simplicities of childhood and the complexities that lay ahead. As the years passed, the paths of Ifueko and Aisosa began to diverge, each sister stepping into her own journey, yet forever connected by the invisible threads of sisterhood and faith. Spiritual foundations. The dawn in Benin City brought more than just the sun. It ushered in a chorus of church bells that mingled with the lively sounds of the neighborhood, awakening Ifueko and Aisosa to a new day. Within the walls of their modest home, where faith was as much a part of life as the air they breathed, the girls were raised on a rich diet of prayer, scripture, and devotion. Mornings began with their mother, Osarag, leading them in prayer. Her voice, steady and sincere, filled the small living room as they gave thanks and sought guidance for the day. These moments, though brief, were a daily ritual that rooted the girls in a sense of purpose and belonging that extended beyond their immediate surroundings. The Bible was not just a book in their household, it was a roadmap for life. Osahan, their father, had a way of bringing its stories to life. In the evenings, under the soft glow of the kerosene lamp, he would recount tales of David's bravery, Esther's wisdom, and Jesus' compassion. These stories were not just ancient tales, they were lessons rich with meaning and relevance to their lives. Ifueko and Aisosa listened, rapt, as their father drew parallels between these biblical characters and their own challenges and aspirations. Church was more than a weekly commitment, it was a community and a second home. The sisters were active participants, not just passive attendees. Ifueko, with her natural leadership qualities, often helped organize youth events, while Aisosa found joy in the quieter role of assisting in Sunday school. Their involvement in these activities was not merely a duty but a joyful expression of their faith. Their parents emphasized the importance of living their faith outside the walls of the church. Acts of kindness, honesty in dealings, respect for others, and a humble spirit were qualities that were not just taught but demonstrated in their daily lives. This holistic approach to Christianity shaped Ifueko and Aisosa's worldview, teaching them to see the world through a lens of compassion, integrity, and a deep-seated faith in something greater than themselves. As they grew, this foundation of faith became the bedrock upon which their identities were formed. It guided their decisions, comforted them in times of trouble, and gave them a sense of connection to a larger community of believers. For Ifueko and Aisosa, their Christian upbringing was not just a part of who they were, it was the essence of their being, echoing through every aspect of their lives. Dreams and differences. Foreshadowing change. As the days turned into years in the bustling city of Benin, Ifueko and Aisosa began to carve their own distinct paths, each guided by her unique dreams and aspirations. These emerging differences, subtle at first, gradually became more pronounced, foreshadowing the significant changes and challenges that lay ahead, especially as the prospect of moving to Canada loomed on the horizon. Ifueko, ever the dreamer, had always been fascinated by the world beyond their community. Her eyes would light up with excitement at the mention of distant lands, cultures, and possibilities. She often spent hours poring over books and magazines, her imagination fueled by stories of people and places far away. Her ambitions were as vast as the night sky, filled with stars and endless possibilities. She spoke often of wanting to make a significant mark on the world, to break free from the constraints of the familiar and leap into the unknown. Ifueko's dreams were like a river bursting its banks, eager to flow into new territories. Aisosa, on the other hand, found her dreams in the quieter, more introspective spaces of life. She was deeply rooted in the community and the church, finding fulfillment in the connections she had built over the years. Her aspirations, though no less important, were more centered around helping and healing within her own community. She dreamt of being a beacon of hope and support, much like her mother, who had touched the lives of many through her nursing. Aisosa's dreams were like a garden, carefully tended, flourishing in the warmth of the familiar. The difference in their aspirations became a common theme in their nightly conversations. While Ifueko spoke animatedly about the adventures she hoped to have in Canada, Aisosa expressed a quieter optimism, hoping to find ways to continue her journey of service and faith in this new land. Their father, Osahan, often reminded them that wherever life took them, their values and faith should remain their guiding stars. As the departure date drew closer, a subtle shift began to take place in their dynamic. Ifueko's excitement was tinged with a hint of impatience, a desire to fast forward to the next chapter of her life. Aisosa, meanwhile, seemed to hold on a bit more tightly to the moments, the people, and the memories they were about to leave behind. The impending move to Canada, a land so vastly different from what they knew, brought with it a sense of uncertainty. It was as if they stood at the edge of two worlds, one familiar and comforting, the other unknown and full of promise. This period of transition was a crucible, testing and shaping their dreams, preparing them for the transformative journey that awaited them. It was a time of excitement, apprehension, and introspection, a prelude to the profound changes that would redefine their lives and their relationship as sisters. A family's faith. The role of parents and community. In the fabric of Ifueko and Aisosa's lives, their parents, Osahan and Osarag, were the steadfast threads that held everything together, weaving a strong sense of faith, values, and community into their everyday existence. The influence of their parents and the wider community in Benin City played a pivotal role in shaping not just their beliefs but also the very core of who they were as individuals. Osahan, a teacher by profession, was a man of deep faith and intellect. He had a way of making the Bible come alive, relating its teachings to everyday life in ways that resonated with both Ifueko and Aisosa. His lessons often went beyond the scriptures, encompassing a wide range of topics from history to philosophy. He instilled in them a love for learning and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. Osahan was also a pillar in the local church, often leading Bible study groups and community outreach programs. His example taught the girls the value of service and the importance of being active members of their faith community. Osarag, a nurse, was the embodiment of compassion and grace. Her days were long and often challenging, yet she always had time for her daughters. She taught them the virtues of kindness, empathy, and the joy of giving. Her stories from the hospital, where she encountered people from all walks of life, were lessons in humanity and humility. Osarag was also involved in the church, particularly in organizing events for the Women's Fellowship and leading health awareness programs. Her dedication to helping others, regardless of their circumstances, was a powerful example for Ifueko and Aisosa. The wider community of Benin City also played a significant role in their upbringing. The girls grew up in a culture where communal living was the norm, where neighbors looked out for each other, and celebrations and challenges were shared. This sense of community was especially evident in their church, a place where everyone knew each other's names and the doors were always open. The church was not just a place of worship but a center for community life, hosting events, supporting the needy, and bringing people together. Celebrations like Christmas and Easter were grand affairs where the whole community came together in a festive spirit, sharing meals, music, and dance. These occasions were opportunities for Ifueko and Aisosa to learn about their culture, participate in traditional dances, and understand the value of community and togetherness. As the family prepared to move to Canada, the community gathered to bid them farewell. It was a poignant reminder of the deep bonds they had formed over the years. The prayers, blessings, and heartfelt wishes they received were not just expressions of love but a reinforcement of the values and faith that had been nurtured within them. This foundation of family and community, enriched with faith and shared values, was the bedrock upon which Ifueko and Aisosa would stand as they stepped into a new world, facing the challenges and embracing the opportunities that awaited them in Canada. It was a testament to the power of a loving family and a supportive community in shaping the lives of its members. Migration to Canada. The news of the impending move to Canada arrived on a balmy evening in Benin City, just as the family gathered for their customary dinner. Osahan, with a mixture of solemnity and excitement, unfolded the letter that would chart a new course for their lives. The words "approved application" shimmered before Ifueko and Aisosa's eyes, igniting a flurry of emotions. For Ifueko, Canada represented a realm of boundless possibilities. Her heart raced with the thought of exploring a land so vastly different from her own. She envisioned bustling cities, diverse cultures, and opportunities that stretched as far as the northern lights. Canada, to her, was a canvas awaiting her vibrant strokes of ambition and adventure. Her dreams that night were a kaleidoscope of skyscrapers, snow, and endless horizons. Aisosa's reaction was a quieter reflection of hope and contemplation. While she shared her sister's excitement, her thoughts were tinged with a sense of solemnity. She wondered about the churches in Canada, how their steeples would look against the skyline, and whether the hymns would resonate with the same warmth as back home. Aisosa dreamt of continuing her spiritual journey in this new land, curious about the ways her faith would adapt and flourish. Osahan and Osarag shared a look of quiet understanding. They knew this move was a leap of faith, an opportunity for better educational and career prospects for the family. Yet, they couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia for the life they were preparing to leave behind. Their discussions late into the night revolved around preserving their cultural heritage and staying true to their religious roots, even in a land miles away from home. In the following days, as the news settled in, friends and extended family members visited, each bringing their own tales of what life in Canada might be like. Some spoke of the harsh winters, others of the multicultural mix that made up Canadian society. The girls listened intently, their minds painting vivid pictures from these narratives. The community's reaction was a mix of congratulations and solemn advice. Elders in the church reminded them to keep their faith strong in a land so different from their own. They spoke of the challenges of maintaining cultural identity in a foreign country and the importance of finding a community of believers. As the days progressed, the reality of their impending journey began to take shape. Canada, a land that once felt like a distant dream, was now a tangible future filled with new adventures, challenges, and the promise of a life unlike any they had known. For Ifueko and Aisosa, it was the beginning of a journey that would not only take them across continents but also through a transformative chapter in their lives. The days leading up to the family's departure from Benin City were a blur of activity, a mix of excitement and heartache as the reality of leaving their home for Canada began to truly set in. In the corners of their once familiar home, stacks of boxes grew like silent monuments to the life they were leaving behind. Each box was filled not just with belongings but with memories: Ifueko's collection of African novels, Aisosa's cherished Bible, photographs that echoed laughter, birthdays, and Christmases past. As they packed, the sisters often paused, holding up trinkets and keepsakes, each sparking a story, a moment frozen in time. Osahan, ever the planner, had taken on the task of organizing the move with a quiet efficiency. Papers were sorted, visas checked and rechecked, flights booked. Amidst the logistical maze, Osarag was the comforting presence, her reassuring words a balm to the bittersweet chaos that enveloped them. The hardest part, however, was the farewells. It was in these moments that the gravity of their move weighed heaviest. Friends and family visited, their faces a mix of joy and sorrow. Laughter mingled with tears as they reminisced and made promises to visit, to write, to remember. Each goodbye was a thread being gently pulled from the mix of their life in Benin, leaving a space that ached with both loss and gratitude. The church community, too, played its part in their farewell. A special service was held, filled with prayers and hymns, a spiritual send-off that was both uplifting and grounding. It was a poignant reminder of the faith that had been their anchor and would continue to be so in the unknown waters of their new life. On their last night, the family sat in their almost empty living room, the echoes of their past life around them. They spoke little, each lost in their thoughts. The room was filled with the ghost of every prayer they had shared, every celebration, every quiet, everyday moment that had made their life here so rich. As dawn broke, casting a golden glow over Benin City, the family locked the door of their home for the last time, their hearts heavy with goodbye but also fluttering with the promise of a new beginning. They were leaving behind much more than a house. They were leaving a part of themselves etched into the very walls of the home that had seen them grow, love, and dream. And so, with their suitcases in hand and a world of memories in their hearts, they stepped out into the cool morning, ready to embark on their journey to Canada, a land of dreams, challenges, and new beginnings.